Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new user webinar. The Orion New User Webinar Series introduces you to the basics of Orion, how to bring up clients, how to navigate your Orion instance. We have these recurring new user webinars every month hosted by myself or my amazing colleague, Consuelo Sobalvaro-Mitz. She is going to be in the Q&A today, so if you have questions as we go, please feel free to ask them. And yeah, like I mentioned, we're going to cover the basics of navigating Orion. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. As I mentioned, Consuelo is in our Q&A chat, so if you have questions as we go, please don't hesitate to ask them. We've also got some great content and resources linked. I'll be mentioning some specific support articles and how to find them at the end of this presentation. You can also click on the Learn More link at the top of your screen to click on that to see those. And you can watch this presentation again after it's aired, usually about an hour after it's done, via the same link that you used to sign up with it. So yes, we are recording this session. That's our most frequently asked question. Will I be able to watch it on demand? So if you need to step out or you want to rewatch it, and we highly encourage sharing it with your colleagues if you find that it's useful and you think they could benefit from it. We're going to be in Minneapolis on June 9th and 10th for Orion University. So myself, Consuelo, our amazing trainers from Redtail, Jake, our Eclipse trainer, is also going to be providing some additional training I'm going to mention next. But all of our trainers, most of our trainers from Orion and Redtail are going to be in Minneapolis, June 9th and 10th. What is Align? Well, what it is 2 days of presentations, and we're going to do a little bit of live workshopping where you're going to learn about the system in more detail, specific functionality, best practices, and you'll be able to ask your questions right then and there. And we've got one-on-one consults. So if you'd like to meet with any of us and meet with us for about a 25-minute consult to talk through anything that you'd like to talk about, any challenges or things that you'd like to explore about Orion or Redtail, please sign up via the QR code or the link there. Like I mentioned, Jake, our Eclipse trainer, is going to be providing some amazing Eclipse training on May 12th in Omaha. So coming up very shortly next week, if you are an Eclipse user and you really want to dive deep into the platform, what this is you might be familiar with our Eclipse webinars, which provide really great overview of the system. Jake is going to dive even deeper. And again, it's a great opportunity to ask your questions in person and get specific guidance directly from Jake, our Eclipse expert. It is in Omaha on May 12th, and I highly recommend also checking that out. And please come and see us if that's interesting to you via the QR code and the link. We are going to look at a variety of functionality in the system, and one of the superpowers of Orion is how flexible and customizable it is, especially for different types of users and use cases. That said, you might see some functionality here that looks a little bit different for you, or you might see something that you don't currently have access to. If you'd like to get access to that, that's not a call to us that would enable that. You would want to reach out to your manage users admin at your firm to have a discussion about that functionality. Some firms want specific functionality available for specific types of users. Other firms are able to adjust that as needed. But again, reach out to your manage users admin. That's typically the person at your firm who manages your login to Orion. If, for example, you need to change your password and you are familiar with reaching out to somebody at the firm to do that, that's the same person typically that can manage your access in Orion. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover general navigation in the system, looking at Orion as a whole. What does it mean when you bring up a client and a portfolio view? What is that specifically? What is your Orion dashboard? So we're going to look at your homepage dashboard, also known as your Orion dashboard. We're going to look at portfolio view, which is the view that you see when you bring up a specific client. It's a card-based view. And then we'll finish by looking at Orion support, which is a specific app that you can find in Orion, and launch. And that is where you both can communicate with us about cases if you want to reach out to our subject matter expert teams, and also where you can find our great support articles and some great learning and training resources. With that, let's get rolling and looking at general navigation. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. One moment, please. All right. So I am logged into the system in a demo database. All of the clients that you see here are demo clients. And this is a great representation of what your Orion dashboard might look like if you or your firm hasn't yet customized it. So think of this as essentially a default dashboard. I'm actually going to use this button here in the upper left to make sure that I'm switching back to a fully default dashboard. So this is your dashboard of your entire book of business. It's meant to highlight AUM for your book of business over time. It's meant to highlight transactions that have recently occurred, the breakout and allocation of your book of business. And all this triggers off of this date here in the upper right. So as you adjust this date, your dashboard cards will update concurrently. So if I, for example, adjust this to last month, to April 1st, all of the cards will update automatically. Now, wherever you are in Orion, you can always get back to this dashboard by clicking on the logo in the upper left. It might say Orion, or it might have a firm's logo or something else here, but it is your quick link to get back to your home page. And then along the left, you've got your app doc. So this is your Orion dashboard is a general view of your entire book of business. The app doc along the left provides you a way to dive deeper into specific functionality. And we'll be looking at some of those apps in more detail in our upcoming sessions, like Performance Viewer, if you want to dive deeper into performance. There's an app called Portfolio Audit, which allows you to dive into your entire book of business in a spreadsheet view and dive all the way down to the transactions. But think of Orion as your Orion dashboard as your home screen. And then when you want to look at a specific client, you can type them into the search bar at the top. So I'm going to type in our demo client here, Loki, for example, and click on the house. This is going to bring up Loki's household, this client's entire portfolio as a series of cards. And you'll notice that it's created a browser tab here. This is what we call Portfolio View. So this is not an app. This is just a functionality in Orion. So think of it as I am viewing a client's portfolio in a portfolio view. You can continue to open up additional tabs for additional clients by using this button, the person with the magnifying glass. And for example, if I open up Thor and Sif there, I can have these queued up and I can click on Loki when I want to look at just Loki's information and Thor. Now, this is a client-friendly view. It's meant to be a client-friendly view, the type of thing that you can bring up during a presentation. But if you know anything about Thor and Loki, they're pretty jealous of each other, especially Loki's pretty jealous of Thor. So we probably don't want to let Loki know that Thor is even a client. So while I've got Loki's information brought up here as a portfolio view, I can come up here to the upper right and click on this button that says Enter Presentation Mode. That's going to expand Loki's information and just their information without any of the Orion views up here along the top or along the left. This is great if you've got a client like Loki coming into the office and I want to show him his information on the big screen in the conference room, or I'm going to do a virtual meeting with Loki. I can enter presentation mode, have my meeting with him, and then if I click on exit presentation mode, it brings me back to Orion. Let's close out of here these individual portfolio tabs. So we're essentially coming back to our dashboard, and let's go over the rest of this top menu bar. So as you navigate around the system in this top menu bar, this is where you can, as I showed, you can look for specific clients. But you can also find other types of information in the system from here. So for example, you saw me type in Loki. I opened up Loki's portfolio view at the household level. The household level is the top level of his entire portfolio. It includes all of his accounts. But I could also dive into a specific account instead. If I clicked on this little brown briefcase icon, this takes me to that specific account in portfolio view. What else can you look for with the search bar? Well, you can also search for things like client-facing reports. If, for example, I have a report called Quarterly Review, your quarterly statement, I know that that's a client-facing report, so I can search for it by name, and I can launch it from here. I can go ahead and run this client-facing report directly from that search bar. Let me close out of here. And you can also Look for other types of information. And if it's a little bit too much, because we have, for example, we have data queries that you can run to look for information across your entire book of business. Those are housed in their own app called the Query app. But if you know the name of the query, you can also search for it and run it here. But I find sometimes including queries in the results, so I clicked on this gear icon. Notice that queries are not currently included in these results. If you turn those on, it can kind of clutter up this view with a whole lot of, I'm just going to type in a vowel here, with a whole lot of results that might not be relevant to what you're looking for. So as you get more familiar with the system and you get more familiar with what is important to you, you can customize what type of results this search bar will return. So I'll go ahead and close out of here. Now, as I mentioned, the default behavior of this search field is when you bring up a client, they're going to open up in this portfolio view. This is great if you are the type of, if your role is to meet with the clients, this is really, really useful. But if your role is more back office, you probably will end up spending more time in the portfolio audit app, which I've got saved as a favorite here on the left. And just to show you how that's different, that looks like this. And this shows you your entire book of business. So it's not the kind of thing that you would want to bring up during a client meeting. But if this is where you live most of your day in Orion, you can customize this search field so that when you enter a client's name, it'll open up here in Portfolio Audit instead of a new portfolio view. If that sounds like you and something that you want to do, you can do that by clicking on your name in the upper right and then click on Profile. My demo user doesn't have that link, but you'll click on Profile. And then there's a results in the preferences page there that says search results. By default, it's set to portfolio view. If you switch that to portfolio audit, from now on, when you type in a client's name here and hit enter, they will open up in this portfolio audit view. Now you can still utilize portfolio view. So I'm going to come back to the home page. But if you would need to use this button, the person with a magnifying glass, click on that. And then you can either type in a client's name here, or you can use one of your recently selected clients there. That's going to function as before. It's going to open that portfolio view tab. So that's a really nice way to customize this search field to really, really adapt to the way you prefer to work.